What's going on, everyone? So, Austin Reaves, 2 games in a row, he has had his struggles. Now, I did think he was much better in the second half of game 2, right? He was much more aggressive, much more, getting to his spots. He wasn't settling as much, right? Where early on, particularly in the first half, settled a lot. And in game 1, he was like terrible, right? I thought Austin Reaves was excellent defensively. And I thought, he, again, really started to find his shot in the second half of game 2. But I have some concerns about this series, right? Because now we have 2 games to kind of see. Now, I don't doubt that Austin Reaves will find his shot. I do think he'll have a game or 2 or several, maybe even talk about this series, right? I think if we end up playing a Warriors team or something like that, I think Austin Reaves will be great, right? I'm not really, I'm worried specifically, I just want to make it clear, specifically this matchup. I think a Houston or a Warriors matchup, I trust Austin Reaves more. I think he'll be better. Austin Reaves has always struggled with physicality and ball pressure and things like that. We've seen it, right? It's something I've talked about for the last 2 years, right? All season last year and even this year. He did clean it up a lot in the back half of the season, which I praised and talked to him about. But this Minnesota series is so physical, so just over the top aggressive. Minnesota's like taking cheap shots and elbowing dudes in the. This is a backyard brawl. This is the blacktop, is what this is. This is like a real war for the Lakers. Austin Reaves doesn't usually fare well in that. It's why he's had his struggles against more of the physical matchups, right? Even in the Warriors series 2 seasons ago, that was arguably Austin Reaves' worst series because Klay Thompson was getting into him and being aggressive, being physical, or scouting report, hey, be physical with them, right? And you're seeing Minnesota, Anthony Edwards was defending him a ton and just getting into him, right? Being aggressive, being physical, and when the refs are letting him play, he's having his struggles. So I worry about him being able to adapt to the physicality. Now, here's the thing. If his shot starts to fall with some consistency and regularity, now I think that will make things a lot easier for him, right? Because I've talked about this before and broke it down. So I'll just kind of summarize it because I've talked about this a lot this season. But I encourage you, look at Austin Reaves' numbers and efficiency when he's shooting well from 3-point range. Not even like 50% or anything, just 38 to 40%. And then go look at his efficiency when he's not. And he's like 0 of 4, 0 of 6 from 3. It's night and day, right? When he's hitting shots, he's more confident. He's got that little swagger, the I'm him, on top of the swagger and everything. He's able to attack and be aggressive on the closeouts, right? When he's not hitting shots, Minnesota is kind of just if I hit him too hard, he's just going to beat us off the dribble. He's 0 of 4 from 3. I'm not going to do that. And Anthony Edwards is on him. You saw him kind of he wasn't getting into him. He'd get into him when he had the basketball, but on the catch and shoots, he would just kind of, go out and close, but still keep the gap. So if Austin Reaves tried to hit that closeout back, when Austin Reaves starts hitting shots, now you have no choice. You have to get into his space. And now Austin Reaves knows you have to get and close the gap, which means now I can hit that hard, get to my spots, elevate, shoot over the top or whatever, right? You saw him do a better job of just being aggressive, be physical. The Austin Reaves we've seen these first 2 games was the first half of this season Austin Reaves that I was very critical of and had my concerns with, right? And for those that were around and were familiar with my biggest complaint, many of you know my biggest complaint about Austin Reaves and why I was so critical of him was his lack of aggression and how much he would settle. You look at the back half of the season when he was averaging, 25 a game and just leading this team to be the best team in the league, right? What was he doing? He was ultra aggressive, regularly attacking closeouts, hitting shots, not settling, getting to his spots, creating contact, getting to the basket. But when you have such a physical matchup and you have such a physical series, He's not able to be as crafty because they're able to bump him and do all this other stuff. Also, he's not getting to the foul line as much, right? When he got aggressive and he get physical, right? Like, they're not blowing the whistle as much. And so now Austin Reaves loses a good majority of his offensive output, right? It's the James Harden effect. Regular season, James Harden's getting 30 free throws a game. Gets to the postseason, he's only getting 10. And, you just see the difference. It's like, oh, man, he's not as good, right? And it's like, no, it's just when half of his points are coming from the free throw line. Now, Austin Reaves, I'm not saying is prime James Harden free throw baiting, but it is a big part of his game. It is a big element of his game. And teams know what they want, what he wants to do, how he wants to operate, right? But the issue isn't even, for me at least, isn't even so much that he's not getting the foul and, the physical. It's that he, because of it, is choosing to settle. Bad shooting nights happen. It's fine. Be aggressive. Get downhill, right? He's a great passer. Austin Reaves is so good when he just goes. When he starts getting into his mental and starts, trying to do too much and try to balance stuff. Broke this down on several occasions in the offseason or this earlier part of the season, right? When Austin Reaves just goes, he's a better playmaker, better scorer. He's more efficient, everything. He's a completely different player, right? Why? Because he's just reacting. And he's taking what the defense gives him rather than the alternative, which is, like you saw when he was trying to be the playmaker. He'd get tunnel vision at times, or he'd start getting too passive. But it's like LeBron and AD are on the bench. Dude, we need you to score here. But he would be like, oh, I need to go make sure I'm getting others involved. And you'd see him start to overthink things, right? And then you would see games where he's settling. He's not being aggressive. He's just taking 6, 7, 8 shots from 3-point range. When you're hitting, fine, right? But you're in a slump. Don't just settle. Don't bail out the defense. Get to your spots. Elevate. You saw again in that second half. He started getting to his spots, attacking, getting into the mid-range, creating that dribble penetration, elevating, rising over the top, knocking down shots. What that does is it builds his confidence. Now you start seeing the ball go through the hoop. Now you're starting to get that touch, right? Now it's like, okay, now let me take a couple threes. So my hope is now that we're moving to Minnesota and Austin Reaves was much more aggressive and effective in the second half, my hope is that he starts to find his rhythm in the Minnesota series, this series back in Minnesota. Again, I'm not worried about Austin Reaves so much in the later rounds. Even an OKC team, I'm not as worried, right? OKC, don't get me wrong, can be physical and stuff, right? But Austin Reaves has had success against OKC, but also a lot of Austin Reaves is bigger or as big as a lot of their defenders, right? He's not as big and strong and athletic and fast as Anthony Edwards, right? And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, right? And they just match up better. Where you see some of the other guys on OKC. He's done a better job of managing that. I do worry about OKC a little bit, and Boston a little bit, but he's had his success against those teams. So we've seen the sample size. We've seen the proof in the pudding that he can manage that. The Minnesota matchup has been a problem for him, right? At least these first 2 games. There's always a way out, right? Excellent player. I'm not saying he won't figure it out or he won't be able to adjust or do whatever is necessary, but at least I only can judge him on what we know. And right now we've seen 2 games and we know he's having a hard time with the physicality. He is struggling with Minnesota's physicality, right? That's not a hot take or anything like that. Again, I believe Austin Reaves will figure some of this out. I think a lot of it is going to be predicated on him hitting shots. If he can start knocking down the 3 ball, I think you see a very different Austin Reaves, right? Obviously just mentality wise and just, him just, getting that swagger, but it will change the way that Minnesota starts to defend him because they're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to be as aggressive and stuff because his shots cooking, his shots falling. He's going to be able to get to he's going to be able to do his things, right? So now you have to be extra, but now if he starts really cooking, right? Now you have to change your defensive schemes entirely, right? And if Austin Reaves starts cooking, it makes guys like Anthony Edwards have to work harder. So now he's not going to be effective on the offensive side as he was, because he has to work twice. But when he can kind of just like, hey, I just got to move my feet and stay in front of you, bump you a couple times off your spot, and then, you can't throw a rock into an ocean right now, so I don't have to hard close. I can just kind of like, give the, right? Like, then I'm good, right? So Austin Reaves, if he can start to hit some shots, if he can start to find his groove a little bit here, I think it'll change a lot for him this series. But even then, I still have worries about the physicality of this series and how physical they are allowing this series to be. It's definitely, again, I don't think it's, Chicken Little Sky is falling for him, but it is concerning, right? Things can change, right? You got at least 3 more games ahead, right? So hopefully he figures it out. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Phil, what are your thoughts? Agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.